And breaking right now, Senators Kamala Harris and Richard Blumenthal, both former state attorneys general, are demanding the entire Trump cabinet cooperate with Democrats in their ongoing investigations. In a letter, the senators also demanding that cabinet officials answer a number of questions, including whether the president or anyone at the White House has ever made a request or suggestion, implicit or explicit, that they or department personnel interfere with the ability of inspectors general to conduct independent audits or investigation. Joining me now to discuss all the latest impeachment developments, Fox News contributors Leslie Marshall and Kim Strassel, who is also a member of the Wall Street Journal editorial board. Great to have you both with us tonight.
Hi, Shannon.
All right, I want to read something from a recent editorial in the Wall Street Journal titled Impeachment in Secret. They say that closed hearings and selective leaks will not persuade the public. It will look instead like a railroad job with the goal of branding Mr. Trump impeached to please the Democratic and media left. Can we know most of what's happened on Capitol Hill has been happening behind closed doors. There are some who speculate that's why the speaker tapped the intel community, because it's easier to get things done without them being done publicly.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Nancy Pelosi has the right to do this. If you look at the Constitution, there is wide latitude for them to define how they want to do this. The question is, why would she do this? If you look at prior impeachment proceedings, they've all happened the same way, where you've done them in public. You've given the White House the ability to call their own witnesses, cross-examine witnesses. And the goal of this was to show that things were done transparently and to convince the public of the rightness of your cause, because this is a political exercise. And I think Nancy Pelosi, the risk here is that you just had that poll. That's mostly what you're seeing in those numbers, is Democrats hardening their stance on impeachment. But Nancy Pelosi, she needs for Republicans and independents to really come over in big numbers. This is not going to do it, because it's going to look as though it's an inside job.
Okay, this is what Rush Limbaugh had to say about that, and I think he's probably on the same page with you, Kim.
You know, shortly after Trump was elected, the Washington Post created a new motto-type slogan. Everybody laughed at it. Democracy dies in darkness. Yes, it does. And if you ask me, I think that's now the objective. Democracy dying in darkness.
All right, Leslie, why not take that House vote? The president said today, you do it on the floor. If you're going to let me have some rights and be able to question witnesses and call people and see evidence and that kind of thing, then we can do this. So why not do that? Make this more open. As Kim said, the poll does show that, independents and Republicans aren't convinced yet. Why not bring them over by making this open and let everybody see what's going on?
Well, that poll doesn't, but there was a poll yesterday that actually showed almost a third of Republicans wanting impeachment now, and that independents have come up steadily since July, and that's about a half a dozen polls across the board that show an increase in the amount of Americans, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, or independents, who favor impeachment and actually favor what the speaker is doing. Nancy Pelosi has always said that unless she has a smoking gun and bipartisan support, she doesn't want to tear the country apart, because it's very divisive. But right now, the numbers are on her side, and Republicans want her to put this to a vote. One, they don't think she has the votes, and even if she does have the votes, it gives them subpoena power, which we forget right now. What is going on actually was a Republican decision 20 years ago. And this is an example where when people are in power, make decisions to make it better and to benefit them and their party in the future, it actually can come back to bite them.
Well, and that's something that we saw when the Barr report came out, the Mueller report and then the Barr letter to Congress about it. There were all kinds of calls for things to be treated differently, the report to be treated differently than it was when Democrats were fighting the Ken Starr report. I mean, there are rules that change over time as people are, as you said, dealing with their own party and power and trying to, finagle that. Now, Kim, of course, let me put this poll up so people can see. Democrats, not surprisingly, 85% of them are in favor of impeachment, but independents still 39% and Republicans only 13%. That's our new poll out today. Another reason, of course, Republicans want this vote, Kim, is because they want those Democrats in Trump districts to have to go to the floor and either vote yes or no on this.
Well, and one of the reasons Nancy Pelosi has not held that vote yet is because she wouldn't even get the majority of her, I mean, she wouldn't even get all of her own caucus. She's got the numbers to do it now, but there are still close to 10 holdouts, Democrats themselves, that aren't willing to go down this path of opening an impeachment inquiry. That would be an embarrassment. And I think that there's some argument to be made that one of the reasons you see any of these numbers happening is because we've only had a half-baked impeachment inquiry, as it were, where we've only seen portions of transcripts. Americans have seen snippets of news. A lot of the media has cast this as very bad, made their own judgment on it. And I think there's an argument to be made that Nancy Pelosi is fearful is if you let this all come out and then you let the White House and Republicans make the counterclaim, that those numbers go back down again.
All right, we're going to leave it there, but I think we all agree on this in the end, that we want more information and more sunlight on this whole thing. Yes?
Yes.
I want more information, and I think if they put it to a vote, I don't think Republicans will come if they're subpoenaed. I think they'll stall like they are now.
All right, we'll see if that vote happens and what the fallout from that is. Leslie and Kim, great to have you both. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.